We are discussed the features of algae. Next we are discussing the reproduction. The type of reproduction or mode of reproduction in algae, that is vegetative, sexual reproduction and the asexual reproduction. Vegetative reproduction occurs with the help of fragmentation. The vegetative propagation by fragmentation. That means the thallus, the algal body divides into different fragments and each fragment develops into a new thallus of algae. Next is asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction means there is no need of sexual organs and the both parents. Only one single parent is required for the reproduction. That is asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction takes place by the production of different spores. That spores are zoospores. You can see it. Zoospores, aplanospores and echinids. Okay. Don't be confused with the spores with the fungi. Okay. Here the spores are zoospores, aplanospores, echinids. So always the zoospores are motile and the aplanospores are non-motile. And the echinids means thick-walled structure. Thick-walled spore, that is echinids. Okay, so three type of asexual spores. The one is zoospores. Zoospores are motile. Aplanospores are non-motile. And echinids are thick-walled resting spores. Okay, so these are the asexual spores. Next we are discussing the sexual spore or sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction is possible by the fusion of gametes. It may be isogamous or the anisogamous and oogamous. Fusion of similar gamete. Okay, similar gamete means morphologically in their size they are similar. That is known as isogamous. Example for this isogamous, that is Chlamydomonas. So Chlamydomonas is an algae. Chlamydomonas is a flagellated algae. Okay, so Chlamydomonas shows isogamous fusion. The next is fusion of dissimilar gamete. Okay, dissimilar gamete in their size. This Chlamydomonas, certain species of Chlamydomonas also an example for the anisogamous. The next is oogamous. Oogamous means fusion of motile male gamete and the large non-motile female gamete, and it is known as oogamy. It occurs in volvox. Okay, so sexual reproduction occurs through the gametes, isogamous, anisogamous, oogamous. Chlamydomonas species is example for both the isogamous and the anisogamous. In isogamous, the gametes are all equal, but in anisogamous, they are not in equal size. Then oogamous, one is motile and small, and the other one is large and the non-motile. Got it? Then algae having some economic importance. Economic, that means beneficial, economic importance. Okay. Mainly three types of algae will be there. Chlorophysia, Phaeophysia, Rhodophysia. Red algae, brown algae, red algae, brown algae. Then there is this green algae. So that their name is Chlorophysia, Phaeophysia, Rhodophysia. Next we are discussing the type of algae. Okay. So the economical importance of algae, that is agar. Okay, agar is extracted from the algae, Gelidium and the Gracilaria. Here I am written, you can see agar is extracted from the algae, Gelidium and Gracilaria. What is the use of this agar? Agar is used to grow microbes, and we all like, okay, ice creams and jellies. All ice creams and jellies are made up of this agar. So agar is used to grow microbes and also used in the preparation of ice creams and jellies. The next one is Sargassum. Sargassum is an edible algae. Sargassum is an edible algae. One more will be the Laminaria. Laminaria, that also an edible algae. Then the next one is keratin. That means carrageen, another product is carrageen. This carrageen is an hydrocarbon. colloid, carrageen, that also be extracted from the algae. So economic importance of algae. In next we are discussing the classification of each algae. On that we will discuss briefly what are the features of each algae. Okay, here I just give you a brief description that common economical importance of algae. The main one is edible sargassum. Then the next one is agar, for the formation of agar. Gelidium and Gracilaria is using. Then the next one is algane is an hydrocolloid that obtained from the brown algae. Algane is an hydrocolloid that is obtained from the brown algae. And then carrageen is obtained from red algae. Clear it is. All these are economically important. Next we are discussing the types of algae. Algae are classified into three main types. The three classes are Chlorophysia, chloro. Then Phaeophysae, Phae. Okay. Then Rhodo, Rhodo, Rhodophysae. The algae are classified on the basis of the color pigments and the storage of food. Okay. So Chlorophysae. So Chlorophysae means what is the color of this algae? Chlorophyll. Surely this algae is green color. The next algae is Phaeophysae, Phae. This Phaeophysae is a brown algae. Phaeophysae is a brown algae, and the Rhodophysae. So name will be the Rhodo. So red algae. So first of all we are discussing the Chlorophysae. It is a green algae. The main pigments present in this algae is chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B. These chlorophylls are arranged in their plastids. Okay. The plastid is a cell organelle. It bears the color. So chlorophyll A and the chlorophyll B are present in their plastids and they give or impart bright green color. Majority of these members are freshwater. About 90%. Okay. And the marine forms are also usually found in the tropical seas. The members of green algae exhibit wide range of thallus structure. That means some are unicellular, some are colonial, and some are filamentous, and some are highly branched. That's why it is known as wide range of thallus. So in Chlorophysae, unicellular Chlorophysae is Chlamydomonas. Unicellular Chlorophysae, Chlamydomonas. Okay, colonial form of Chlorophysae, volvox. Then filamentous form, that is Spirogyra, and highly branched one is Chara. All these names are having your textbook, so read the textbook carefully. Otherwise, you will not be familiar with all these terms. Okay, so the unicellular Chlamydomonas, colonial volvox, filamentous Spirogyra, and the highly branched Chara. Okay. Then the cell wall of the cell wall is made up of, or cell wall consists of cellulose. Okay. Inner cellulose and outer pectin layer. Pectin. Okay. So the cell wall of this Chlorophysae made up of two layers. Outer pectin layer. Pectin. P-E-C-T-I-N. Pectin. And the inner cellulose. Okay, but in case of Chara, the cell wall is made up of calcium carbonate. That means that all organisms in the Chlorophysae doesn't have the same type of cell wall. Chara, the cell wall is made up of calcium carbonate. Okay. Then in the case of chloroplast structure also, they are not unique. Chlamydomonas contain cup shape chloroplast is seen in Chlamydomonas, and girdle shape seen in Eulothrix. And reticulate shape seen in Edogonium. Stellate means star shape. Stellate shape is seen in the Sygonima, and the spiral shape is seen in Spirogyra. Disc shape seen in Chara. Cup shape in Chlamydomonas, girdle shape in Eulothrix, reticulate shape in Edogonium, stellate shape in Zygonema, and a spiral in Spirogyra, then discoid in Chara. Clear it is. A central vacuole and nucleus with the organelles are common in the cell of the Chlorophysia, and the main form of storage food, that is starch. And the food is stored in pyranioid, that we discussed in the previous class. Previous class means the previous slide that we discussed in the common characters of algae. The food is stored in the pyranioid. Reproduction takes place by vegetative, asexual and the sexual methods. Vegetative reproduction results by fragmentation, and the asexual reproduction takes place by the zoospores, planospores and the echinoids. Zoospores are formed during favorable conditions and planospores formed during unfavorable conditions. Zoospores are formed during favorable conditions and the planospores are formed during unfavorable condition. Sexual reproduction occurs by isogamous, anisogamous and the oogamous. Species of Chlamydomonas shows isogamous reproduction and sometimes it shows anisogamous reproduction. Volvox and Chara shows oogamous reproduction. Volvox and Chara, that shows oogamous reproduction. The zoospores and the gametes are biflagellate or quadriflagellate. Bi means 2, quadri means 4, or multiflagellate. Multiflagellate means more than 4 flagella. Multiflagellate. The sexual fusion of gametes results zygote, which takes a period of rest and later develops into a new alga by cell divisions and growth. Clear? So the reproduction mainly occurs by vegetative, asexual and sexual. Vegetative reproduction with the help of fragmentation. Fragmentation means the parental body divides into different fragments and each fragment forms the thallus. Then next is asexual reproduction occurs with the help of zoospores and the planospores. Okay. Then the zoospores are formed during favorable conditions and the planospores are formed during unfavorable conditions. The conditions mean they are organisms which is seen in water. Okay. So the environmental conditions and the water conditions are needed for the reproduction. Sexual reproduction occurs by isogamous, anisogamous and oogamous method. Species of Chlamydomonas shows isogamous and also anisogamous type of reproduction. And Volvox and Chara, that shows oogamous type of reproduction. Zoospores and the gametes are biflagellate, quadriflagellate or multiflagellate structures. The sexual reproduction, the sexual fusion of gametes results zygote, which takes a period of rest or later develop into a new alga by cell division. Okay, so the common examples of the green algae, that is Chlamydomonas, Volvox, Eulothrix, Spirogyra and Chara. We discuss all these names in different examples. Okay, repeating on the name Chlamydomonas, Volvox, Eulothrix, Spirogyra and Chara. Clear? So this is about Chlorophysia. Chlorophysia, otherwise known as green algae. It contains the pigment chlorophyll A and B. Chlorophyll A and B are arranged in their chloroplast. Thus, the cellulose is made up of outer cellulose, the cellulose is made up of outer pectin and the inner cellulose, and the chloroplasts are various shapes: cup shape in Chlamydomonas, girdle shape in Eulothrix, reticulate shape in Edogonium, and the stellate shape in Zygonema, and the spiral shape in Spirogyra, and the discoid shape in Chara. Okay, and sexual reproduction, isogamous, anisogamous and oogamous. This iso and aniso both seen in Chlamydomonas. Chlamydomonas is an example for the isogamous and the anisogamous. That's very important. Okay. Then the Chara and the Volvox shows oogamous type of reproduction. Then we discuss the food material stored. The food material, mainly the food material is starch. Okay, the starch is stored in pyranioid. It's very important that where this organism seeing, and the cell wall is made up of, and the flagella and the which all type of photosynthetic pigments are seen in them, and what was the reserve food material. Okay, so please be careful with this 5 terms. Habitat, freshwater. Habitat means where they are living, freshwater or marine. Then thallus, unicellular, colonial, filamentous, branched. Cell wall, made up of cellulose and pectin. Flagella, 2, 4 or more. Photosynthetic pigments, chlorophyll A, B. Okay, the reserve food material, starch. Hope all of you will understand the topic Chlorophysia. Thank you.